there. Welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a specific film. So today, the specific film I'm reviewing is called On the Line. This psychological thriller movie is now available to stream online. It's rated R and is an hour and 44 minutes. The movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a C. Now hold on. Don't click off to another movie review channel. Let me explain why. And this grade, I think, is especially important in the filmmaking quality department because I actually really enjoyed this movie. But there were moments where I was like, oh, and then at the end, I was like, oh, I have mixed feelings. So let me explain all of that. I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and even recommendations for other films that I instantly thought of that are sort of similar that I think you'll also like. All right, so in a nutshell, a radio show host takes a call where an unknown person threatens to kill the showman's entire family on air. To save loved ones, the radio host will have to play a survival game, and the only way to win is to find out the identity of the criminal. Dun, dun, dun. So here's a list of things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, Mel Gibson. I have been a huge fan of Mel Gibson since the very beginning, really. One of my favorite movies of his ever is The Patriot. Now, this is not one of the movies that's going to be similar to this movie that I'm reviewing, but if you haven't seen The Patriot, definitely check it out. It's a great movie. But anyway, Mel Gibson had so much charisma back in the day. Not to say he doesn't now, but he stumbles in his role at the beginning of the movie, in my opinion. But once he gets going into a groove, then the movie starts to be a lot more fun. When I saw that he was going to be in this, I was a little bit worried because so many of the older actors nowadays that we've come to know and love over the years seem to be selling out to very bad scripts. Act one in this movie kind of felt like that for me. And I was like, oh no, another one of these. But it builds. And finally, I gave in and just enjoyed the ridiculous ride. Mel Gibson's character drives a cool Mustang. So that caught my attention because a 1966 Mustang was the very first car I ever bought all by myself. I loved the twists in this movie. Now, no spoilers. Some viewers are calling the twists lazy and ridiculous, but I got a kick out of them nevertheless. And I didn't see them coming. Apparently, the movie is a remake of the Korean thriller called Midnight FM. Now, I haven't seen it, so if you have, comment down below. Let me know if you liked it and how this American version compares. This is the kind of movie that you have playing in the background during a party where people will have fun laughing at how some of the scenes are just absolutely ludicrous. So there are some things that I didn't like about this movie, obviously. The acting is surprisingly wooden and terrible at times. Even Mel Gibson had quite a few moments where it just seemed like he was phoning it in. He started the movie with this super deep, grovelly voice. So I thought, okay, that's how he wants to play the character. But then after a few scenes, he just sounded like his real self. And so I wondered, was he just getting over a really bad cold or something when they started filming? Because the actual voice quality changed. I just wanted Mel Gibson to shave from the very first minute I saw him. Now, I don't mind beards and mustaches and all of that. It was just like one of these gruffly hair all over the place instead of a nice, clean, beard, that kind of thing. But it also spoke to his character and the groveliness. I don't know. It drove me nuts that so many characters just stood around doing nothing when they could have been reacting or coming up with a plan when they were in dangerous situations. I was just like, what are you doing standing there? Some of the dialogue is just awful. We don't get to learn very much about any of the other characters, just like a one or two lines, and that's it. And so some of them seemed very one-dimensional. A rumor is that it took 30 producers to make this movie. And after you watch this movie, I think you might be surprised by that because it's pretty straightforward and simple. Everything takes place in basically one building, except for a bedroom scene when he's kissing his daughter goodnight before he goes off to work. Anyway, I'm super curious to see what you guys are going to think about this movie. Let me give you some tips for parents since I mentioned the little girl. This is not an appropriate movie for little kids. I think they'll be bored much of the time. There is, however, a lot of profanity and many F-bombs. We also see dead, bloodied bodies and some inappropriate comments. So skip this one for family viewing. Some of the themes that the movie illustrated well are shock talk radio, family, practical jokes, workplace relationships, how to survive in dangerous situations. Now, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines to give you a feel and a taste for the movie, and I have them all in my written review at moviereviewmom.com. I'll share a few of them with you right now. First of all, the character that Mel Gibson plays is named Elvis. And so, as expected, there's a line where a character says, Elvis has left the building. And I was like, I don't know if I should cringe or laugh at that, but there we are. One of the dumb lines of the movies, and there are many of them, is when Mel Gibson's character says, by the time the cops get here, it's hopeless. That's his reasoning for not calling 911 to the radio station building to get some help, because that didn't make any sense to me. And there are a lot of lines like that where you're just like, but there was a great movie that Mel Gibson's character says, and that is, what kind of B-grade movie BS is this? And I just laughed because I thought that was a wink to the audience that even he recognizes this is not going to win an Academy Award for him or anything like that. All right, so I immediately thought of a few movies as I was watching this one. The first one is called Phone Booth. Definitely check this one out. It's a thriller where this guy is, tied to the phone, trying to survive and do stuff. Anyway, it's really well done and kind of a classic in that genre. Another one is called Panic Room with Jodie Foster, where she's also trying to survive in one location in her house, kind of going up and down the stairs, but most of the time in this panic room. And don't we all wish we had one of those? And then another thriller that I thought of is The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. It's a train. And again, there's this, evil villain talking on the phone who's making the protagonist do things. And it's crazy and scary and tense and all of that. So those movies are done very, very well. This movie is not as good as those. But if you're in a mood for kind of a goofy version of those, then you might enjoy it. All right, thanks so much for watching and spending some time with me. I hope that my reviews are helpful because you've got a lot of movies to choose from and probably not as much time and money to watch them all. So that's my job, is to help you weed through some of the crummy ones and get to those golden nuggets. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.